this works here.
Okay.
Isn't that right, Gino? We'll give it the old college try, as they say. Hello, and welcome to another live post here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. And I am paired up with two interns who are also going to be practicing their hello and welcome on this live post. Let's hear it, Gretchen and Elizabeth.
Hello, welcome back to another live post at the Wildcat Sanctuary.
That's a good start. I like it. Elizabeth, let's hear your live post introduction.
I've been practicing, so don't put too much on me. But hello, everybody, and welcome back to another live post at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Today we are over in Pride Prairie with Gino
Okay,
and
full
Sophie.
introduction. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, that was it. That was my practice.
Well, I think that's a good start, and of course, getting Gretchen and Miss Elizabeth warmed up, as they're going to be doing a great job of sitting here in the live post hot seat, as it were, and obviously Tammy carrying a lot of that water. Last Friday, we shared news that we all knew was coming, but still, nonetheless, that my transition from the Wildcat Sanctuary is happening, and is happening this Friday. Last week was one full week. This week is my second last full week. And onward and forward to the great beyond. But before I go there, we're going to make sure that Gretchen, Elizabeth, and of course intern JJ have every tool that they might need to kind of carry the same exact flame that I've been carrying here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, is to be an ambassador right here on the ground for our rescues, to help tell what's happening here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, to help tell how your support is helping make possible what's happening, and all that jazz. So, hey, welcome everybody. I was about to say it's Friday. I'm glad it's not Friday, because then it really would be my last day. What's today, Gretchen and Elizabeth? Tuesday. Well, and what do you two think? We're hanging out with Gino and Sophie right now. Where are we? What are these two cats doing? Who are they? What could you two tell me about Sophie and Gino here?
Yeah, this is Sophie and Gino. They're a mother-son duo. They live over here in Pride Prairie, and it looks like they're just taking an afternoon nap.
Pretty mild afternoon. I think, admittedly, it's feeling rather fall-like. Gino perking up as the caretaking UTV drives by. You also might notice that he's got his head kind of trained or turned in the direction of his next door neighbors over in Roar Ridge, and he sees, his beloved caretaker Jackie and her team over there getting some winterization stuff in order. They're hanging some extension cords, so you can see this handsome man looking that direction. And Gretchen, I've got a little quizzical for you. Do you know how old Gino is?
I'm pretty sure he's 5?
Gino's a little older than 5.
No, that's the wrong one. He's gotta be...
Gino's 8 or 9, if I'm not mistaken. And that talk about, there's a variety, and I think a lot of our supporters can identify this. There's kind of a variety of ways that we get timestamps on, either how long we've been following the Wildcat Sanctuary or just what have you. And that was one of those timestamps for me. I think it was last week I was double checking Gino's age, and Gino came to the sanctuary way back in 2019 as a 1-year-old, and here we are in 2025. I didn't think that Gino was going to be, that 8-9 years old, but I then kind of went back and looked, and I said, yep, time flies, Gino, and my oh my, I think probably just like the Ukraine Pride, we're always going to see some of these rescues as maybe the cubs or kittens that they came to Sanctuary as.
Mr. Carl wants his opinion known as well.
What's that, Elizabeth?
I said Mr. Carl, if you hear him in the background, he's got some caroling going for us.
He's starting...
He, of course, wants to be the star of the show, but we're focused on Gino today.
Carl hollering from across the sanctuary, and that's kind of one of the things too, and certainly so many of you are familiar with, is a little bit of the pace of life of things, and how the caretakers have their fancy dancy UTV pulled up to the building, and that means that the cats are typically having their meals. They're maybe having, some type of unique enrichment placed for them. And what Carl is doing is taking part in a sanctuary-wide ritual that many of our lions do. And it is roaring or lion caroling after they've been given access to their habitat. And Elizabeth, I always kind of, make a joke to myself of, in a way I imagine it as the lions thanking their caretakers for their meal or whatever, or what have you. And so that's kind of your classic lion carol as they've exited an indoor bedroom, maybe after having their meal or what have you, but it's always a great little introduction and almost like a thank you to their caretakers. Let's see what's happening here in the comments, everyone. Patty Ray sent 500 stars. Patty, thank you for that. 1 star equaling 1 cent, and that's $5 of support that you're lending our cats, and we so much appreciate it. Sylvia Butler says, beautiful, bless you. Thank you, Sylvia, rather. Susan Fryman saying, oh, good to hear from you, Judson. I've been missing the updates, so I just realized that you were leaving. And bittersweet indeed, Susan, but I'm glad to have you on this live, and I will be here all week as we, again, kind of do our best to make sure that Gretchen and Elizabeth and the whole team here is going to kind of uphold the same expectations and quality of content and consistency of content on Facebook with or without Judson. What do you think about that when I say something like that, Elizabeth and Gretchen?
You made me sad.
Well,
but you've been a great mentor to us for the time being that we've been here, and we've learned a lot, and not only about how sanctuary life is, but also how to interact with donors and sponsors and the community that the Wildcat Sanctuary is and has and continues to be, and all the factors that go into that. And I'm really excited.
Good. Well, I think that's very simply, and I appreciate the first part of your answer too, is kind of just cutting through it all and knowing that this is a fun opportunity for you to, learn something about the cats, learn about our mission, our vision, and then to package that in a unique and accessible way for our supporters. To be able to package some of the things that they're making possible here for our rescues every single day. And that's so fun. It really is, being able to unpack all that is made possible through the support of people, be able to unpack, all the different aspects that go into a rescue, unpacking what it's like for our rescues to live here at Sanctuary. It's exciting. So I like to hear you say that, Elizabeth. Gino sniffing the air there. I want to give a thank you to Angie Pitt-Cabbage, who also donated 500 stars. Thank you for that, Angie. It's so wonderful. About 1,000 stars raised on this post. And Marcy Sanborn wishing me some more well wishes, and I appreciate that. Look at this comment here. You're already getting me ready to prepare some fishtails out on the ice, Marcy. I love this. I'm gonna have to reread this when I get back to my desk. Your Maine Coon, says Emily Bella, looks like Gino with his lion cut. Oh, that's so fun. And certainly I can think of Remo, who was always so good. Remo, the domestic cat here at the sanctuary, is always so good about sporting his lion cut. And, Gretchen and Elizabeth, as always, wherever I go, I'm just so good at, for lack of a better phrase, not shutting up. What's going on with you two back there? Is there anything you'd like to tell me about? And I'm not looking for anything in particular of, any insight about Gino and Sophie, or, is there, anything, if you were to imagine that I weren't here, how would you keep the ball rolling on this live post?
Okay. So I think Gino and Sophie's story is really interesting, especially about how they came to be here. They were part of the Argentina rescue, and that was one of our first big international rescues.
Exactly.
And from that, we got 7 lions, and while we only have a couple now,
And so this is, and this might not be something I expect you to answer. I know maybe some of the followers in the comments could answer. We're looking at two of those lines now. We have a third one here still with us, which would be Leo. Do you know the names of any of those other lions who came from that original Argentina rescue?
Sultania.
Sultania, correct.
Kimba.
Kimba, who is the former mate of Sophie and father of Gino. Monza, that's correct.
And then, so...
Kind of the matriarch of the group. You may have heard of her. She was a very senior, older lioness, and her name was Sultania.
I said Sultania.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. I need, this is when I know, I'm at maximum brain capacity. So
I was missing another one, though.
Chipino.
That's
so I apologize. I thought I heard Chipino and I was waiting on Sultania, but I was mistaken. So that's exactly right. And it's fun to think about how, just like you said, Elizabeth, this is one of our first large scale international rescues. And, we often like to think that, for that opportunity for us to show how well equipped we are for not only executing international rescue, but providing lifelong care to 7 big cats who are part of that international rescue. We often like thinking that helped, not only equip us, but inform, other people in the industry about what we're capable of, from anything like the Ukraine Pride rescue, some of the large-scale rescues that have taken place in Canada just this past summer. So it's so wonderful that, you think back in 2019 when that was, one of our first more large-scale international rescues. And now in between then, how many other large-scale international rescues we had, and how it really, really kind of acted as a roadmap for us and to help kind of pave the way to ensure that we could not only help rescues domestically, but internationally too. Looking at a few more comments here, everyone, and thank you for the well wishes, of course, and thank you for the words of encouragement to Elizabeth and Gretchen. I know that goes a long way towards them as well. And I'm just catching up on a few more comments. That's right, Kirsten. Kimba, your pirate boy with one eye. That's right, Kimba and his one eye. He's even then he still looked dashing, didn't he? Thank you, John, for the well wishes too. Sharon Osgood, thank you for that 350 stars. Mia Vaughn is maybe suggesting tying me down with rope so I don't leave with TWS. I'd be maybe opposed to that. Let's see what else is happening here in the comments. Lisa Parker saying, that rescue showed up in my news feed and led me to TWS. So perhaps that Argentina rescue you're referring to. That's so sweet, Lisa. That is one of the cool things. And Gretchen and Elizabeth will certainly get used to this as they do more and more of these live posts. Is, maybe you're doing a sanctuary stroll and you come across a cat and someone like you kind of perks up and it says, oh, it's, Bentley. I learned about Bentley when I, learned that you guys were in Oregon participating in that rescue. And I've been following the sanctuary since. So those kind of entry points, if you will, are always so wonderful to hear. And I encourage that. And, I know that I'm kind of sitting here and I'm putting a lot of the, the chips behind, or I shouldn't say that. I'm putting a lot of the responsibilities on Gretchen and Elizabeth and JJ as they are going to be taking over the live post command. But I'm also, certainly in the nicest and most playful way possible, is going to encourage you guys to kind of help them out along that journey. Ask some questions. Offer your opinions. Offer your comments. And I think that always helps. I love it on live posts. You hear me complain about when I'm not able to see the comments. So you all contributing to the conversation, I think, is just as important of a part as the training process, as me kind of going through the A, B's, and C's of doing a live post. So I appreciate everyone considering that. Gretchen, Elizabeth, we did see Bentley before we settled down with Gino and Sophie here. Should we go and walk over with them?
Yeah.
And before we do that, one of the things that I often like doing, that's one of the cool things about posting live on the internet, it's kind of a revolving door. So, we've had people who've been watching since the beginning. We've maybe had a few viewers who have tuned in partway through. So Elizabeth and or Gretchen, why don't you guys just do a quick little reintroduction and let people know who we are, what they're watching, and what we're doing here.
Yeah, we are here in Pride Prairie with lions Gino and Sophie. They're a mother and son duo. And we are here to do a live post to hang out with you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, and get our feet under us, and that's just what's the wonderful thing about our rescues here is that every peaceful cat nap, Brie MacArthur, Gretchen will have to come up with her own Judsonisms, her Gretchenisms. I agree with that, Brie. I'll be watching closely
We're
for that.
trying, but you've kind of infiltrated into our heads.
Yeah, exactly.
The mannerisms are sticking.
I know. That's the thing. It's maybe a little, more infectious than I realized. So, but good to have everyone along with us. I appreciate that reintroduction, Gretchen. And of course, let's go and maybe see if we can visit with some more cats. I did mention we saw Bentley, the leopard, cruising around his space. But I'm sure if maybe Bentley's gone inside, we'll be able to find another kiddo to hang out with. But off and away. I hope everyone is enjoying themselves today. Good job, Gretchen, says Susan Preston. I agree,
Thanks,
Susan.
Mom.
Hi, Gretchen's mom. I'm her roommate.
I still agree, despite the bias. So I wholeheartedly agree. Pam Hager, where we were kind of talking about the different rescues that have brought people into the Wildcat Sanctuary fold. And you mentioning Bruno's rescue and how you found us after our little tripod Bruno came from all the way in Boston, Massachusetts. And boy, oh boy, and of course the Bruno's original rescuers at the Boston SPCA naming him Bruno after the hit movie Encanto. So I even remember that I was kind of out of the loop when I was doing a live post with Bruno, I'm talking about Bruno, and then all of a sudden everybody in the comments starts going, we don't talk about Bruno, don't talk about Bruno. And, there's been more than a handful of times in life where I felt, I'm on the outside of the circle. And that was one of the times, Miss Kimberly. And Elizabeth and Gretchen, I know we came over here for Bentley. Oh, and I already see him sauntering on over here. But first he's got to hide behind, I think we're going to get stalked here, ladies. He's watching us from behind that little thicket, and zoom, here comes a Hansard leopard Bentley. Hey, mister. Hi. And so one of the things that Gretchen and Elizabeth have been working on, and I'm sure many of you are aware, that come November time, we have a very, very important time of year, which is Give to the Max. And we've been working on getting our Give to the Max ducks in a row with you, Mr. Bentley, that and it looks like I picked up the Wi-Fi again, so we're back. The sound has hiccups, that's good to know. I appreciate you letting us know that, Maria. A lion song from Carl across the way. A lion song into a lay. And then we have Bentley over here. Everybody's jockeying for attention on this live from the paparazzi here. Teresa D. Victoria asking Judson, which of the art? Often it. Oh my word, Bentley. But that's a great question, Teresa, and one that I've even kind of been thinking about, in my own time after the weekend, perhaps after the live we had Friday where someone was asking about a favorite cat. And I've come to the conclusion that pridefully I can say I don't have a favorite. I love them all. And I know that's kind of a non-answer. But that is kind of the conclusion I came to. And it wasn't shamefully. It was pridefully. I feel that they're all so important to me. They're all so unique in their own ways. And when I start categorizing them, I eventually just lose track because I'm kind of doubling back on myself. And I'm saying, well, and then, Bentley for these reasons. And then, Glenn the Bobcat for those reasons. And maybe, Phoebe the Savannah for that reason. So it's always hard for me to choose. And I think a moment like this, where I see a cozy and content rescued leopard Bentley living life to the fullest here, I think those are the types of moments that just help endear me to every single one of our residents. What's going on back there, Elizabeth and Gretchen?
We were peeking out at who else is around.
Okay.
Mr. Louie in the background.
Oh, did Louis come
Bring it
out?
around. He's playing
Is
in his
he?
pool.
Okay, well then I think we're definitely going to have to go and make a pit stop with Louis, and that could be a great conclusion.
I was thinking about if I have any favorite cats.
Okay, well, you've got 5 months ahead of you to really, really dial that in. But
I have a couple right now who've made a strong impression.
Well, and we're in the business of helping our supporters get to know our interns a little bit more, our media interns. So let's hear it.
So one of them would definitely be Tiger. I'm not sure if people saw earlier this week or last week, we had a post about Tiger on the Facebook, and he will constantly sit on my lap while we're working in the office, as well as when I was first doing my initial first week at the sanctuary. Prada made a very strong impression. She's a sassy little queen.
And quickly,
I adore
Elizabeth,
her.
go back to Tiger for a moment. Elizabeth, if we had a lie detector hooked up to you right now, and I were to ask you, Elizabeth, are you allergic to cats?
Yes.
and that lie detector would indicate that you are telling the truth. You had a pretty wild first week of Tiger and Edgar both making points of sitting in your lap, and I appreciate as you continue to be patient with them, and despite a sniffly nose, both of those boys appreciate your lap, so thank you.
We've taken a good routine into it that I can give them little head scratches, but then they can't sit on my lap. If they sit on my lap, then they just
You're
get to
gonna
hang
get
out.
stalked here by
What is the
Bentley.
answer?
Nice job. I didn't know you were such a pound of Louis. Come over there too. So look for Louis because Shazam's having some fun enjoying his enrichment. I think Louis was maybe just doing some cruising and looking to see what the Tiger boys were up to across the way. Dimitri and Griffin. Getting very friendly with one another. But let's go see what Shazam's doing. And this is all, talk about lessons to be learned on this live post, Gretchen and Elizabeth. You'll see these fleeting moments of, this will be perfect. I'm going to go over here for the live, and then I'm going to go over here. And, right as we heard Shazam kind of knocking around this hanging fire hose toy here, he's now off to do bigger and better things, and the only evidence that we have of Shazam enjoying himself is the slow swing to his enrichment toy here. But I do see that special leopard maybe coming back over here. Yeah, here he comes. Now, second to Rio Ocelot, Shazam's one of our oldest rescues here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. And Black Leopard Shazam is the same exact species of leopard that we were just seeing with Mr. Bentley. Bentley's a golden leopard, and Shazam is what's often referred to as a melanistic leopard. So he just has a surplus of melanin, giving him that black coat. And boy, oh boy, Shazam is still beautiful in his own right. You catch him in the right light, and he doesn't just look like a black lab chewing on their favorite stick right here. But you'll also notice that Shazam is covered in these beautiful rosette patterns, and he's almost kind of a red color too. Elizabeth, you're commenting about a lion song happening?
We have, I believe, 3 going at once.
I think Leo, Gino, and
Carl.
Okay. I do believe it might have been started by Nasha, who's across the way. And Kim and Carl singing way, way over there. Kim a little bit. Both of them are laying down.
It's hard work.
You're seeing
Hard work
you're
being
seeing
lion.
Kim's tummy kind of puff up there as she's letting out kind of those last lion calls. There goes Carl rolling around, Kim rolling around. I mean, I've said it before that, I mean, there's a handful of the cats are companions that live together, and Kim and Carl are not only an example of companions but true soulmates. I mean, those cats love each other. I know we're kind of at a hard angle. I'm zoomed in all the way across the habitat. Uh-oh, we might have the party coming to us here. A little bit of recreating of that scene in The Lion King of tossing other lion into grass here. But obviously too, it's worth kind of reinforcing. I'm talking about how Kim and Carl are quite the dynamic duo. But here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, Kim and Carl, or rather Kim is on a contraceptive. Carl will eventually be vasectomized. And very simply just understanding the fact that, you may hear us talk about how much these cats love one another, but that doesn't mean they're breeding and reproducing. Here as a rescue sanctuary, that's the last thing that we would want to do. Our residents are rescued wildcats. Is that Winona talking to Shazam? Interesting. Very interesting. And that very simply, there's going to be no breeding or reproducing of our cats. And, no matter how much of a strong bond they have, we love that, but it ends there. They don't need to be breeding more cats for more of these exotic animals to be living in captivity. Shazam, what was your girlfriend saying to you there? Usually she's got nothing but kind words to say. There's kind of been a lot of cat commotion, everyone, so I apologize if I'm missing out on a few of your comments. Kimberly getting rather excited about Shazam. Shazam being the same cool hand Luke that I've always known him about. He says, well, yeah, I see you over here, but I'm wondering where that pretty orange tiger is. And these are the types of observations, too, that the caretaking staff is making when they're doing a move like this. Oftentimes, you're going to see us use our shade cloth. We'll create some type of visual barrier. If caretakers observe, for example, where Kim was fixating on Shazam too much and causing Shazam discomfort and uneasiness. But these are the types of things that the caretakers observe, is that, hey, we noticed that Kim noticed Shazam today. And what did Shazam think of it? Well, he didn't really mind whatsoever. And then obviously, too, Kim and Carl know that we're over here, too. And so I think that's part of the equation of why they're kind of hanging out here. But you saw Kim, she kind of stepped up on Shazam, with a little bit of, some agility there. And Shazam didn't really pay any attention to it. So that's the type of cohabitation that we often talk about when we're doing these types of cat moves or mergers or what have you. Happy Tuesday, Maria Pagano. Sarah Bloomberg's here. Debbie Brooke. I may be sucking all the air out of the room today, but I do have Gretchen and Elizabeth here with me on this live post, so be sure to give them a hello too. They're, of course, stretching out all of their live post muscles, as they're going to be assuming a lot of these live post duties alongside Tammy, and an exciting thing, Mr. Shazam, hoping to feature some of the caretakers even more on these live posts, just to continue to make them, as informative, as inclusive, and fun, too, as possible. See, Shazam knows who's his number one gal, and it is not Kim. And that's okay, Kim, because you already have somebody else who's your number one, and that would be Mr. Carl here. I had fun today, everyone. Kind of starting out with lions. We got to see Sophie and Mr. Gino. We got to check in with leopard Bentley as we made our way over here to Wild Woodlands. And Kim is getting in another stalking position to watch Mr. Shazam from. And Shazam's going to be going right up into his bedroom. Where in the world? Well, he says, well, I go going back over here, so now I'm going back over there. It's kind of the, there's always a bigger fish, Shazam's being stalked by Kim, and Shazam is stalking Winona. And Winona, I'm pretty sure, is stalking Daisy. So we had, that was a multi-layered, an inception of a stalk. We have a stalking tiger or stalking lion stalking a leopard. We have a leopard stalking a tiger, and then a tiger stalking another tiger. So all is well here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Whether you're striped or spotted or solid, everybody's having fun, it seems. But I think that's a great way to end this live post, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for making it a fun Tuesday. And Elizabeth and Gretchen, you'll be hearing from them certainly soon on this week. We're going to get Mr. JJ out on a live here. And again, just try to make it another, fun and informative week for everyone, and a special week too. So everyone, have a great rest of your Tuesday today. I thought you were waving, but you were waving away a gnat or something. Have a great rest of your Tuesday today, everyone, and we look forward to having you back here at the Wildcat Sanctuary tomorrow. See you, everyone.